Prime Minister to attend the Queen's funeral. This as New Zealand's leaders and former leaders share stories about their time with Her Majesty. Here's Jessica.
A formality to honour New Zealand's Queen, sharing their condolences and their stories.
Probably one of my fondest memories will be the conversation I had with her during the lockdown period. She called just to check on how New Zealand was doing.
She was rather small in stature, but big in presence.
The Prime Minister woken by a police officer this morning.
Just the night prior, I'd been reading some of the news about her state of health, as many will have been observing. And so when that torchlight came into my room, I knew immediately what it meant.
Many of our former Prime Ministers also had their own relationship with the monarch.
I certainly had the unique opportunity of bringing our family to Balmoral, and that's a memory that will live with me for the rest of my life and for our family's lives. So yeah, she was a really remarkable person, and it was a very sad day.
She loved her horses, she loved the races, and she loved those corgis. And at Windsor Castle, coming down the corridor from the drawing room to the lunchroom, suddenly the corgis, which had been invisible, were everywhere. You were picking your way literally through the carpet of corgis. That was a really amazing memory to have.
I'm probably the only one that's ever spoken to her on what I think is the inevitability of New Zealand becoming a republic, and we had a very good discussion with her on that aboard the Royal Yacht. We sailed from Southampton across to Normandy in the commemoration of the D-Day landings.
And politicians of all stripes reflecting on her legacy.
Well, she gave New Zealanders a tremendous sense of stability, and again, she was an inspiring role model around public service. I mean, it's for 70 years to wake up each and every day caring deeply about your people and wanting to serve them incredibly well and to the very best.
We knew it was coming, but it's such a great sorrow. The Queen was a true leader. She didn't do much, and she said even less, but it was her consistency of value that made her a leader.
We lost many rangatira due to this institution. So while we empathise for the loss of a queer and a whānau member and absolutely pay homage to that, we don't lose sight of our experiences as tangata whenua.
New Zealand is now in an official period of mourning, a sign of sorrow for a woman that led New Zealand for 7 decades.
Well, mourners have gathered around the world to remember the Queen, the only monarch at 96, having ruled for over 7 decades that most of us literally have ever known. For New Zealanders, the news started filtering in early this morning. Thomas Mead reports.
When day broke at Government House, a bouquet was already on the gate as flags were lowered to half-mast over our Parliament, our landmarks, our schools. The Union Jack still in the top left corner all these years later.
It's actually quite sad. It's really sad.
It's kind of like losing your grandmother, isn't it? She's been around forever.
I can remember standing at Taronga with my little flag.
The tributes flowing the length of the country. A youth program run by the NZDF with an impromptu haka in Auckland. Her image, now so familiar to us, overlooking Eden Park and adorning these antiques.
Plenty of cups and side plates.
As mourners took a memento home.
Been pretty busy this morning, lots of people on our website, snapping things up. First customer this morning bought a big royalty mug.
While others poured their emotions onto the pages of these condolence books.
Just a thank you, in fact, to the Queen for her life of exemplary service. I'm not sure there's a better example of what service is.
Today especially hard for those who grew up with Her Majesty.
We've got wonderful memories of her when she was a young girl and her wedding and her coronation.
But also felt by those a little younger, like Declan Jones in Tauranga.
I woke up this morning to a bunch of texts and messages and whatnot, and yeah, it made me actually think quite a bit, and now it does mean quite a bit more.
Remembered as a queen of the people.
I am delighted to send you my warm congratulations.
Marie Johnson in Napier received a letter from Her Majesty on her 100th birthday.
I've been on the same journey as she has all these years.
many remembering her extraordinary life of service.
Mary and Bruce had
so many lives,
hard
and she can
and
show us
hard for
that a life can be lived in a way that serves other people.
And this afternoon in Christchurch, there was a new
So
song
Bruce
at
won't
the
be getting
Transitional
a
Cathedral.
cup from the Queen on his birthday, 100th
The
birthday.
boys' choir learning the words to God Save the King.
I think it'll take a bit of getting used to, yeah.
Her Majesty passing on the torch. Her work here on earth finished at last. Thomas Mead, One News.
Our political editor Jessica Mackay joins us now live from Parliament. Kia ora, Jess, what's happening at the moment?
Kia ora, Simon. I'm joining you from the balcony of the 9th floor of the Beehive on an unusually still night here in Wellington. It's been a pretty big 12 hours in this building. I'm joined now by the Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern. We've spoken throughout the day today, but what is your enduring memory of Queen Elizabeth?
Just the level of knowledge and interest she had in New Zealand. Not only would she ask about issues of the day, she would sometimes ask about individual people. Her memory, her recall, her love of this place. She was extraordinary.
In terms of your plans to go to her funeral, what are you thinking at this stage? Because you were meant to be in New York next weekend.
All very dependent, of course, on the arrangements in the UK. We expect that they'll be